We're creating a new model in the film space that combines two aspects: using the web to bring more great films to the broadest possible audience, using IndieWire to provide context and community for film fans and for members of the industry. With both parts of our company creating new tools and new revenue for all parts of the independent film ecosystem. And by that I mean filmmakers, festivals, film schools, but also journalists and nonprofits. And we are guided by passion, really, as our central principle. We believe that will provide the underpinnings for a strong and profitable company, but it's our passion about film and about the subjects that film celebrates that guides us. When we created Snag Films in 2008, we're about a year and a half old now, we were guided by some observations, and they were that the patterns of consumption, the way individuals gathered entertainment and education, were changing, and the web was becoming increasingly the most important venue for individuals to have access to entertainment. Second, while at the time people were talking about short-form films and user-generated content, we believe very strongly that professional films belonged on the web, that there was a real hunger in the broadest possible audience for having access to professionally made films and real storytelling. Third, production costs were coming down, and so it was easier for people who had a story to tell to become filmmakers, but felt that there was an implosion in the traditional channels of distribution, increasing the theatrical distribution, especially for nonfiction films. But that the television world, the world I came out of, is finding it very tough to take single films and put them in a television schedule that was usually stripped out across the... What do you think is the role now that critics such as yourselves and Todd play for the film industry and for film fans?
Well, I don't want to join the Chicken Little sky is falling part of the conversation because I've heard too much about that. I mean, the facts are the facts. It's not so much the film critics. Well, film critics, it's not a growth industry. We all know that right now. But then neither is journalism, or also journalism certainly. Newspapers are struggling merely to survive. Magazines, to some degree, the same. And so a lot of critics are losing their outlets. Relevance? Well, a couple of things. One is people take any advertisement for a movie. Try to find an advertisement for a movie that doesn't still rely on quotes. Can they not find any other way to promote a film and try to persuade people to come? The very studios and distributors that in many cases are marginalizing film critics by not having screenings or taking a sort of a high-handed, or indifferent attitude toward critics, are still quoting alleged critics in their ads. It doesn't seem to matter who they quote either, just so they have a quote. So there seems to be a real entrenchment of the idea that the only way to connect, who is that somebody else? Just as people tell me that they go to Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of friends and acquaintances and students, Rotten Tomatoes says, well, every tomato is a critic. So no critics, no tomato. There's a concept going to implode. There's no way to defeat it or fuel it. I think A.O. Scott's essay, which he did for the New York Times about a month ago, sums it up very well, which is that the role critics still can play, that is a real critic who writes an essay, hopefully a thoughtful essay about it. It's just a conversation about a film. Just getting the conversation started in some cases. It's not a Consumer Reports function, although a lot of people, look at criticism that way. Certainly in the television era, and when Roger and Gene Siskel started their show with the thumbs up, thumbs down, it became shorthand for go see it, don't go see it. I don't think that was ever their approach to criticism, but it was a shorthand that suited television. And when I first went to work at Entertainment Tonight, wanted me to do a 1 to 10 scale. I did. Paul, like it. They were right. People did have tremendous feedback. Somewhat I have a consumer report. Good movie, bad movie. Go to see it, don't go to see it. But real criticism, as A.O. Scott discusses so well, is really thought-provoking. It's thought-provoking. The other function critics serve, which is I think relevant to this panel, is to champion good movies. And I see my colleague FX Sweeney sitting there. FX is the kind of, I know that he shares my feeling that almost any critic would, that there's no more satisfying aspect of his job than calling attention to a good movie that people might otherwise not know about. No one really needs our review of Avatar, theoretically, although that too can spark conversation. No one needs our review of Iron Man 2. You know, the studios are spending tens of millions of dollars to make sure everybody knows those films are out there, and word of mouth will often take care of the rest.